And in this process of enjoying my life, I've started to really look at what are the ways in which I've been willing to disappoint myself to not disappoint others. And then I've been paying attention to, am I willing to stop disappointing myself, even if that means that I'll disappoint others? Let's chat. One of the things I've learned about enjoying my life is that it is an adventure. An adventure that is filled with twists and with turns. It's an adventure that at times brings grief and loss. It's an adventure that also brings rebirth and freedom. And many of us are now willing to go on this adventure because it's easier not to. And I can say that because that used to be me. I used to feel like I couldn't enjoy my life until insert achievement here. When you're someone like me that's poised for success, your entire existence revolves around achievement. And it goes from one achievement to the next achievement, seeking for this high that is gonna come after you get to some place, after you've arrived. And I used to be like that. And at times, I am like that. I show up with that energy. And since I've made a commitment to enjoy my life, I've made a commitment to shift out of those ways of being. I've made a commitment to believe in the beauty of whatever I am experiencing in this moment and not wait until the right time, not wait until the right experience, not wait until my next achievement to enjoy the moment. And today I want to talk about that because I know that there are many amazing women that are like me, that are poised for success, and that are waiting for the next moment to start enjoying it, when we can start enjoying it right now. Let's get started. I started this journey of enjoying my life around 2016. And it was the beginning of this adventure for me that actually was kicked off with grief. In 2016, my favorite uncle was murdered in Honduras, and it really became my wake-up call. It became an invitation for me to look at how I was living my life and to decide if I wanted to continue it in the way that it was going. And you know what? I didn't. I was working at this job that was a great job. It was actually a dream job for me when I first got it. And I was really happy to have had that role at the time because it was a role that I was a director and I was in my 20s. And the 20-year-old version of me was so eager to succeed. I grew up below the poverty line in New York with my parents after I moved here from Honduras. And money was always lacking in some shape or way, some shape or form. So I just knew that if I made money, if I was successful, then I wouldn't be dealing with these problems. I wouldn't be dealing with these challenges, and I could really enjoy my life. And as I look back, that's the beginning of this relationship, this dance I began with joy and success. And I'm really curious for you, how has it been like to start to enjoy your life? What has been the thing that has stretched you the most in your journey to enjoying your life? Because we all have different things that challenges us. And for me, it's been the pursuit of more money, more house, more things, more clothes, more jewelry, more. And I used to think that what will bring me joy was more. Insert whatever here, more achievements. And when my uncle passed away, I began to look at everything I had accumulated. I began to look at all the things that I had that were supposed to feel good to me and didn't. And I started to ask myself, what are you doing? Why are you doing all these things? Is this even making you happy? Is this bringing you joy? And as I looked around, I realized none of these things were hitting the mark. In today's episode of the Yenory Pouncil podcast, I want to get deeper into how I started finally enjoying my life. Because this podcast is a love letter to my future self and to other amazing women that are focused on enjoying their lives and loving themselves unconditionally. And I know many of us are poised for success. I know many of us are really good at the career game. And when it comes to the joy game, we're not so good because we've been focused on being amazing career women. We've been focused on being the go-tos for our family, for our businesses, for the organizations that we lead. We've been focused on coming in and optimizing systems for people and being the person they rely on. And when you are focused on that, it's very difficult to focus on joy because you can only focus on one thing at a time. And that's where I was. That's definitely where I was in 2016 when I started to realize I'm everything for everybody. But who am I for myself? And I want to hear from you in the comments like, do you feel like you're everything for everybody? Do you feel like everybody's always counting on you? And when it's time for you to count on somebody, it's a little challenging because you're so used to pouring out of your cup that you haven't realized that there are cracks in your own foundation. And that was the beginning of joy for me. Because when that happened, when my uncle passed away and I started to ask all these questions, I was really curious about how I even got here. I was so wrapped up in the labels, being a director, being somebody's wife, being somebody's daughter, being somebody's sorority sister, being this, being that, achieving this, achieving that, that I didn't really know what was underneath. And one of the reasons why living a life of joy can be so uncomfortable is because it requires that you answer a very powerful question. And that is, write this one down. What brings me joy? What lights me up? What feels good to me? And when I started asking these questions of myself, I realized that I didn't know the answer. And I did not like that. I was so uncomfortable by this idea that I was a problem solver for so many people in so many ways. And when it came to me, I didn't have the answer for me. I didn't know what brought me joy. I didn't know what lit me up. I didn't know what felt good to me. You know what I didn't know though? I know what didn't feel good. I know what didn't light me up. I knew what did not feel in alignment. And for me, that's where my joy began. I began to look at my life from a different perspective, and I realized that I could change some of these things. And I had never really considered that because I was so focused on checking the things of my list. I was so focused on achievement. I was so focused on, I'm going to go to college and I'm going to get the degree. I got multiple. I had 2 bachelors and a master's. And then I'm going to get the job and I'm going to work and build myself in my career. And I did that. I went from being a college graduate, of being a first grade teacher, and then I was a college coordinator, and next thing I was a director for an association. Like I was going through the ladder of success, and then I'm gonna get the apartment, and it's gonna have a beautiful view, and I had that. And you know what? None of that felt like it was it. And then I started to feel guilty because I felt like I should have joy, and I didn't have it. I didn't have it because it wasn't the thing that I wanted. It was the thing that people wanted for me. And in order for me to get to this point, this place that I am now, where I am enjoying my life, I first had to see all of that. I had to go through the discomfort of looking at my life and realizing you live a life. Do you love it? Does it feel good to you? Are you at peace with it? Do you feel excited about it? Ask yourself those questions. Because when I asked myself those questions, I started to realize that the answer was really what was feeling super uncomfortable for me because I didn't enjoy it. I wasn't happy about it. And if I can be honest with you here, I was miserable and I feel bad about it because everything led to me, quote unquote, being supposed to like it there. And I had encounter with getting to the top of the mountain and not enjoying the view. And a lot of times that's what happens to us as women. We get to this place in our lives where we have all the quote unquote things. We are checking all the quote unquote boxes and we don't have the joy. Because during that journey that we took to get there, we never stopped to look to see, do I like it? Does this feel good to me? And if that's not you, then this is not for you. Like, kudos to you. I'm glad that wasn't your experience. Let us know in the comments below what has been your experience and how that has helped you ensure that you are enjoying your life. And for those of us that has been our experience, I want you to know that you're not alone and that there's a way out of this way of being. And it starts with looking at yourself. It starts with looking at your life. It starts with looking at who you are, who you've become. It starts to looking at the type of person you're being in the world and how does it feel to be that person. And I want you to know that it's going to be uncomfortable. Drinking tea, it brings me lots of joy. It's going to feel very uncomfortable. It's going to feel uncomfortable because you're going to look at yourself from a way that you haven't looked at yourself before. And in order for me to get to this place where I enjoy my life, I had to go through this process. You can't heal what you don't reveal. I think that's a line from Jay-Z. There are many variations of that line. You gotta see it. You gotta shine light on the darkness so that you can bring the light of love into the things that you're not liking about yourself. And I didn't like that. I didn't enjoy my life. And I really desperately wanted to enjoy it. And what I realized in that was that I hadn't allowed myself space to feel that. When you're focused on being everything for everybody, it's very difficult to put your desires first because people depend on you, people rely on you, people are waiting for you to come with answers, people are waiting for you to come with solutions. And oftentimes that means that you are not giving you solutions for you. And in the process to enjoy my life, I've discovered that my joy requires that people are disappointed. My joy requires that people feel like I'm letting them down because they are used to being number one. And now there's a new sheriff in town. And they don't like that. And I have grace for them because I know what it's like when people choose to put themselves first. And that means I'm no longer number one on their list. And you're going to feel uncomfortable for them and for me. And many of us are not willing to live knowing that someone you love deeply feels disappointed. And they feel disappointed by your decisions and how you show up in the world. That is something that can feel so heavy, especially when you have been taught to people please, when you have been taught to rely on external validation. It can be really heavy and uncomfortable to know that that's happening and to go against the grain of that. And living a life of joy requires that. It is a prerequisite of that because it requires that you put yourself first. And that means that other people are not going to have that spot. And in this process of enjoying my life, I've started to really look at what are the ways in which I've been willing to disappoint myself to not disappoint others. And then I've been paying attention to, am I willing to stop disappointing myself, even if that means that I'll disappoint others? And what I've discovered is that enjoying my life has required that I am willing to feel this discomfort. And I want to talk about what it has meant to really enjoy my life. What does it look like? It really has meant to be willing to be uncomfortable for myself. It has meant to be willing to let things go that other people are very attached to and that I used to be really attached to, and trust in my inner voice, trust in my inner vision, and be okay if people don't get it. There's so much of me that used to be caught up on, are people going to get this? Like, I need people to applaud me. I need people to validate me. And the more I've enjoyed my life, the more I realize that not everybody's going to get it. And it's by design, because when you are enjoying your life, there are things that bring you joy that are not going to bring other people joy. There are things that light you up that are not going to light up other people. I love Dragon Ball. Not everybody loves that. I love tea. Some people don't like tea. They prefer coffee or they prefer something else. I love to go to the beach. I know people that hate going to the beach. So the things that I enjoy, that I thoroughly enjoy, there are people that would never want to do those things. So the idea that I have to be putting what other people want above what I desire, above what brings me joy, it's not, it doesn't feel good. And it's not meant to be that way, because we all are unique. We all have our own self expression. So it's okay that the things that I desire to express are different than the things that other people desire to express. And for a long time, I didn't think it was okay. I had to learn that it was okay. So I used to shine away from those things because I didn't want to make people feel some type of way, quote unquote, because I didn't realize that I couldn't make people feel something that they already didn't feel within themselves. It wasn't until I had that realization that I was able to start enjoying my life. Once I realized and I understood and I accepted that we all have different tastes, we all have different desires, we all have different ways of being, and that every single person way of being is not better or worse than another person. It's just a different path. I was able to finally start enjoying my life. And when I began to enjoy it, I realized how important it was, excuse me, that I trusted myself, that I trusted my inner voice, that I trusted my inner being, because I had placed this importance, this value on external validation. I had placed this value on people got to approve of me first. And that was actually keeping me from enjoying my life, because if people didn't okay what I was doing, I didn't okay what I was doing. Have you ever felt like that? Have you ever felt like you can't move forward unless you can't move forward unless someone else gives you a thumbs up? You can't give yourself permission unless someone else gives you permission. You can't follow your desires unless someone else says it's okay to follow your desires. Let me know if you felt like this in the comments below, because I used to feel like that all the time, especially with the things that require for me to make hard decisions. I used to feel like I need people to okay me. I need people to co-sign me. And I used to go and ask people like, hey, I'm thinking about doing this. Do you think I should do this? Do you think, what do you think about this? And people will give me their opinions. And then I would take their opinions and be like, well, so-and-so don't think I should do that. Then maybe I shouldn't do that. Maybe this is a bad idea. And then I would start talking myself out of the things that bring me joy. I would literally start to self-sabotage because I wanted to get validated. I thought the validation was more important than what brought me joy. And I'm not alone on this. Like, we all experience this. I know if you're here, you've experienced this. Let me know in the comments if you've experienced this, because it happens. And when we realize the attachment we have to validation, when we realize the attachment we have to meeting the expectations of other people, when we realize the attachment we have to perfectionism, that's really when we can start to create space to enjoy our lives. And enjoying my life means that I am uncomfortable. And discomfort is not something that I run away from. Discomfort is something that I've learned to appreciate. Discomfort is something that has brought me space. When I say no to others, I'm saying yes to me. When I say no to the expectations people have of me, I'm saying yes to what lights me up. And what lights me up is knowing that I'm living my life in alignment. And what a beautiful moment that is when you can look at yourself at the end of the day and know that you lived your day the way that you wanted to. Because the thing I had to start reminding myself daily is that tomorrow isn't promised. Part of the reason why I was waiting to start enjoying my life is because I thought I had time. I used to tell myself the story that, well, when I get this achievement, or when I get this amount of money, or when I move to this house, or when I move to this neighborhood, all these conditions to when I could finally start enjoying my life. And what I began to accept is that I don't know if that's going to happen. All I know is that I'm here right now and I'm present right now. And right now is all I have. And if tomorrow comes, then I'll be there. Yet for now, I'm here. And when I began to look at my life like that, it became easier to be in the present. It became easier to start my mornings with gratitude. It became easier to release the attachment to achieving before I start enjoying my experiences. It became easier to stop striving for success with everything. It became easier to acknowledge that I am poised for success. Whatever I do is gonna be amazing. If I set my mind to something, it's over. Everything I touch turns to gold. That is my mantra because that's how I move. That's my posture in my life. So it doesn't matter what I'm doing, it's gonna be amazing. And it's about me being willing to enjoy it, to enjoy the process, to enjoy the unfolding, to feel like not that I'm in a journey and that I have to arrive at some destination, and instead to see that I am dancing with life. And when we are dancing, the point is not to finish the dance. The point is not to get to the end. The point is the dance. And I love that idea. I love that idea of shifting out of there is a journey, shifting out of I gotta arrive somewhere, and instead sitting in the beauty of the present moment and allowing myself to enjoy it now, whatever it looks like. And since I've been doing that, since I've stopped waiting, since I stopped striving, since I started to not acknowledge that all I have is this moment, my life has been so much more joyful. I'm able to walk away from things without carrying the burden of regret or fear of missing out. I'm able to sit in the joy of my child's laughter instead of feeling annoyed that he's awake and I'm not getting a chance to do all the things on my to do list. I can witness him and I can witness me witnessing him. And I can see that we are living this life that is beautiful and that all that matters is that we're here and that we're sharing space and that our hearts are beating to the sound of joy. I didn't know I could feel like this. I didn't know this is what it would mean to enjoy my life. truthfully, I wondered if I would ever get to this place because I put so many conditions on what joy had to look like and what were all the boxes that needed to be checked before I could experience joy. And what I've loved the most from this experience and this ability to be in a state of joy in my life is seeing that I can be joy. I can have joy and feel joyful anywhere that I am planted. It's not about the money. It's not about the apartment. It's not about the clothes. It's not about the jewelry. It's not about the experiences. It's about me. I remember reading this book called A Return to Love from Marianne Williamson. And there is a quote there that speaks to me a lot. And he says, "The only thing that is ever missing in any situation is what you are not bringing." And to me, the only thing I could possibly not be bringing to a space is joy. Because when I bring joy, everything amplifies, everything changes. I come into the space and people can feel the joy because I am the joy. And when I live my life in that way, everywhere I am, there's joy. And that's how I started to enjoy my life. It's been a very daily decision, moment to moment decision, activity to activity decision. I'm very intentional about it. I like to focus on the joy in any situation. I look for the blessing in every situation. And sometimes it's uncomfortable to do that because you've been taught that some of the situations are really fucked up. And you don't want to look for the blessing. You don't want to look for the lesson. You don't want to look for the joy. I know how difficult that is. I know all the conditioning that comes up when you are in that space. And if you're willing for a few minutes to suspend your judgment, to suspend your desire for validation, to suspend your attachment to perfectionism and your attachment to meeting other people's expectations, if you are willing for a few minutes to look at your reality and see the beauty and see what you can learn and see how whatever you're going through is helping you be a joyful version of yourself, is helping you show up with a heart of grace, is helping you look at the abundance of love in your life, I promise you're going to find it. You're going to find it because whatever you go looking for, you're going to find. And when you find it, you'll find more of it. So that's what I had for you today. That's what I wanted to share about joy and the beauty of joy. Because I know that whoever is watching, they desire to bring that beauty into their lives. You want to have the courage to step away from your work, that thing you're so good at, that thing that sucks up so much of your energy because you're so good at it, and you keep on doing it because you love it and it brings you joy. Sometimes joy is also stepping away from that. Joy is leaving work a few hours early so that you can enjoy the sun. Sometimes it's setting your boundaries with your colleagues so that you can have a quiet lunch and you can sit in the present moment and eat your food with a meditative approach. You can eat your food with mindfulness. Sometimes joy is drinking a cup of tea and doing it while you simmering and savoring the flavors of the herbs that you are drinking. Sometimes joy is taking a deep breath, feeling the air in your lungs, feeling the energy in your body flowing. Sometimes joy is sitting, doing nothing, looking at nothing, contemplating. Joy can be so many things for us. And when you are able to see what joy is for you outside of the material, outside of the glitz and the glamour, outside of all these things that you think joy is, you can discover that joy is always available to you. And you can tap into it with ease, with flow, with love. That's what I had for you today. If you enjoyed this episode, consider subscribing to the channel. And somewhere here on the screen, there is another video that is designed to help you live a life that you absolutely love and enjoy. Thank you for joining me today. My name is Yenory Pouncil, and I'm here to make sure that you see things clearly. I'll see you next time. Hasta luego.